Hello, welcome to episode 15 of An Earful Podcast. On this episode, we talk about It Chapter 2.
We discuss all things to do with our standout characters and actors of the film, memorable moments of it, and whether there should be another film.
They should.
So, if you've been listening up to now, you would have heard episode 6 when we talked about the It Chapter 2 trailer, and number 13 as well with Sean Clark, where we also talked about it. If you haven't checked out our other episodes, then please do by Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Acast, and check us out on socials as well on Facebook and Instagram.
And if you didn't know, we are on YouTube now as well.
Oh yeah, we're on YouTube.
So if you can't be bothered going through the normal apps, you can now find us on sweet old YouTube. Otherwise than that, enjoy.
Greetings and welcome to Earful Podcast.
Hey, Georgie.
It Chapter 2.
Spoilers ahead if you haven't seen the film yet, but if you haven't, it's your own fault. Go and watch it.
Obviously, why else would you be here? But anyway, we shall carry on.
Let's talk about it.
Cool. So, just to give a bit of context, this is the follow-up film from the 2017 film titled It, adapted from the Stephen King novel and also relates to the 1990 miniseries starring Tim Curry.
Mr. Curry.
Mr. Curry, an American national treasure. So, this is based 27 years after the first part, Chapter 1, where all the Loser Club are now adults.
27 years later, isn't it?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And obviously, Pennywise has come back. So, overall thoughts?
Matty?
I think, compared to the second, obviously, installment in the mini-series, it's a lot more different from, obviously, the original in regards to, especially the finale, when they came to
Finale?
it. The finale. Obviously, CGI is a lot more better.
Well, it's bigger
We'll go
budget
with
because
that.
I think they
Bigger budget.
realised from the first film, oh shit, we can make a lot of money from this.
Yeah, because I was kind of curious to see how the ending was going to be. Do you know, with the big what is it? Is it like a big crab thing?
It's
always a big spider, isn't it? Yeah,
Speed Ray?
it's a big spider. Yeah.
So
But-
in the mini series, it just was a spider.
Got slated for it as well.
yeah, because I always thought that end bit just kind of ruined the whole feel of the film. Because the obviously you had Pennywise all the way through it, creating the whole creepy atmosphere around it, and obviously Pennywise is such an iconic part of the film. When it came towards the end, I know obviously it's supposed to the deadlights are supposed to transform themselves into your biggest fears.
I think, yeah, it's
But
your biggest fear, but I think
it
the
was just-
spider's the most common one anyway.
it is, but it was just so shit at the end that you got to the end bit
You
and you was
talking about
like,
this one?
what? No,
I was
the
about to
original.
say.
I was like, what the fuck is this creature?
Well,
it
yeah,
looks so fake, and
the
it
way
just wasn't scary at all.
the mini series kind of dwindles out Pennywise in general. He's on a projector screen. It looks like when he was at high school and you
Yeah.
couldn't be asked to doing a proper lesson, so they shoved something up on the projector.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it looked like. Also, it
Yeah.
kind of looked like that when they did the moon part of it, when he's speaking to Henry Bowers, when he's in the mental asylum, and it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
his face on the moon.
Yeah.
But then
yeah.
again, it was the 1990s ABC
Yeah, I'm not-
budget production.
I'm not
wasn't it?
slating it.
How are
Obviously,
we
the
reviewing
original.
the new one? Jesus.
I know. I'm
Let's
not
slate the
slating
old
the
one.
original. I'm just saying. I just mean that last little bit there.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a classic film. Obviously, you can't beat Tim Curry playing Pennywise, but compared to this one now, I think
It's definitely a better ending, but there's
Yeah.
kind of that joke all the way through it where they're going on about Bill not being able to write a good ending.
Yeah, it's very meta.
Mm.
It's Stephen King can't either. What a coincidence.
Mm.
The casting though was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
How good
It was.
that
It was
cast is.
perfect. Yeah.
Sorry to change the subject.
My voice went then. I go. Pennywise is possessing.
But yeah, casting was stellar. They must have had a big budget from the fact that they got James McAvoy, Jessica Chastain, who have both had big films come out recently.
Yeah. Bill Hader was my favourite.
Bill fucking Hader, man.
Playing Richie. He was so good.
For me, I've not seen the TV series in the minute called Barry. So that's the first thing I've seen him in where he's actually doing something serious. So to see
Yeah.
that contrast on him as an actual actor was pretty impressive.
See, I only remember Bill Hader from all like the Superbad films. And
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. So I know what you mean. And it's kind of like ironic that he's playing a comedian as well in the.
Yeah, it's
in
like a
the film.
Netflix
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
It's like filming at the beginning. So
Yeah.
your straws on. But yeah, I think solid choices in terms of casting.
For me, it didn't like, just overall, I didn't feel as scared watching this one.
No,
Not as much, not even just jump scares, but I don't know what it was.
don't get me wrong. There's a lot of jump scares.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I kind of felt like you're too heavily reliant on this now, and you could kind of expect it with the whole fact that the score was so relatable to what was actually happening on screen. Like there was just like the build up in the sound, like dynamics and stuff like that. You're like, oh, they're gonna do like a jump scene now or
Yeah, it's
something
going
like that.
quiet here, or there's silence.
Yeah,
You clearly know there's something happening.
yeah, and I think it was a repetitiveness.
Say that
Oh,
again.
I can't even say it. Repetitiveness. I can't
One
say
more
it.
time.
No, fuck off.
Do you get what I'm doing?
No, but you get what I mean. So
I
like,
thought you did it in A level in English.
I know, same. I can't fucking say it. Repetitiveness. Repetitiveness. There we go. We done it. Hey, there we go. So I thought the repetitiveness of the scenes where it's the flashbacks kind of got a bit tiring after a bit.
This was my problem with it. I think that
It was
they
too much
kind of
to like
filled
a
it out
format.
too much.
Yeah.
and it was just unnecessarily long with them in it.
Yeah.
Especially towards the end, I feel like the flashback scenes and that just was like, there's not really any point.
For me, I don't think that was too much, because I liked the fact that you were seeing encounters they had as children with Pennywise
No, that was good at first.
that you never
when they introduced
saw.
it.
Yeah. But do you mean like stuff where it's what Ben built underground and they're all
No, not
tokens and
not
shit like
even that. It was the whole of when they all had to find an object or something
a
to
token?
yeah to get rid of, and they all followed the same format where they found the possession, they had the flashback where it's the
Oh,
interaction
okay,
with
yeah.
Pennywise, and then there was another interaction with Pennywise when they were an adult again. It got a bit like, all right, we
You're
get the point.
expecting it
But
at
then
that point.
I've been thinking about this after, like obviously it's been a couple of days since we've all seen it.
I feel I need to watch it again, so take this my side of what I'm saying with a pinch of salt, because I will be watching it at least two more times.
Yeah, so like I was saying, the whole thing of that. What was I about to say? My mind's gone blank. We'll get there. Yeah, so I was thinking about this the other day of how they could have kind of cut it down. And when I've been thinking about it, there is actually no other way of doing it. You come to blended scene and scene of like all the flashbacks together, because like you wouldn't know where you stand in terms of context or where everything was.
Yeah.
All of them happened at different times, obviously, when they all fell out between that 1 month in that summer. So there wouldn't really be a way of cutting that down. I don't think there was any way they could have done it in retrospect. But that's just me. That's what I think of like the way they've done it. Like, but obviously it is a long film.
I think a lot of it was needed for some of the character storylines.
Yeah.
E.g. Bill Hader's character. Because, like, I'll admit it, I've not read the book, so I'm not fully clued up on all the Stephen King stuff. Like, so I didn't know the whole thing between Bill's character. I can't remember the name.
So was it that
What's his name? What's his
Richie?
Richie, yeah. I didn't know the whole thing about Richie being gay.
See, that wasn't in the book. Wasn't it apparently in the book that it was, off the top of my head, that it was Eddie who was meant to come out. So there was a plot twist in that it was actually Richie this time
right, is
round.
that true?
And in the mini-series, it's meant to be Eddie that comes out, because he admits that before he dies in the mini-series that he's still a virgin because he's only ever like loved them lot or something like that. Yeah. I can see nostrils flare.
So yeah, like obviously, I feel like the flashbacks obviously were needed to build his character out, because he ends up becoming kind of like the fan favorite in a way. Do you know what I mean? Everyone kind of feels sorry
Well,
for
he
him.
was in the first place though.
Yeah.
Like I think in the first film because what's his name? Will come to me. Who plays Rich in the first film, basically.
The kid.
he was a strong favourite then. I think in terms of that cast, he was like the most
so funny as well.
Yeah, and obviously he came off the back with the whole Stranger Things franchise.
Well, so he's a solid actor from Stranger Things, and he kind of played the similar kind of character in a way, didn't he?
Sort of like, because if you kind of like compare both, at the times like Stranger Things and stuff like that, and then you've also got the first part of it, they're all based around the same time.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a typecast, but I think that'll kind of work its way out. Obviously, I've noticed from looking at other reviews that people have done, they also notice how little certain people are in scenes because of like how much they've aged in the time between both films and filming and stuff like that. So apparently, if you watch the scenes where Finn is obviously playing Richie, he's been airbrushed quite a lot.
Yeah, they said they did some CGI to make them look younger and all the children actors.
Yeah.
And then there'll have been some...
And then done the voice pitch up as well and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So these scenes, the young when they were younger, these scenes were filmed after they filmed, obviously, It Chapter 1.
Yeah. So to kind of preserve like them not aging as such. But apparently
I thought they would have been filmed around the same time. I thought they would have just had all this planned out and just maybe filmed all the children's scenes.
Well, I think it would have been dependent on how the box office worked off.
Yeah.
Because if it failed, then they wouldn't have bothered investing in Chapter 2.
Yeah.
Obviously, it made a great success. Is it the highest rating horror film ever?
We don't fact check, so let's just say sure.
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 I think in terms of like how well it's done, I think it's one of the highest rating R-rated horror films ever. No, in terms of a franchise, if not the highest, because of the obviously reaction it's had and how much it had a response from people and stuff like that. So we've already mentioned in terms of like standout characters, we're all kind of swaying to the whole Richie thing that he was. Right, so here's my qualm about this. I mentioned this to you the other day.
Yeah, I think I know what I was about to talk
So
about.
obviously there's a whole thing about him coming out gay and stuff like that in the book, the film, sorry. I don't think that's obvious.
In the film?
In the film, I do not think it's obvious.
I like that though.
No.
I liked it, do not get me wrong, but where everyone's like, oh, he comes out and all that stuff, I was like, right, okay, so there's going to be a point where Richie comes out in the film and all of that, because it was obviously spoiled beforehand because of good old social media. But
I don't know, like when they got, like I was the same, I didn't know that was a thing, and when they all got reunited and they're all sat in the Chinese, he's kind of hard-faced with him.
Yeah.
You're only telling each other like stories and stuff, and he's like,
I fucked your mum.
Your mum's fat and all this, like,
yeah.
obviously making all these sort of jokes, but he's kind of like hard-faced with him, and then like obviously as things start happening, he shows a bit more emotion towards him, but I thought that was just that kind of a friend thing.
Yeah.
And then
and at the end, that's when the whole R plus E at the end, obviously for Richie and Eddie.
That took me way too long to figure out, by the way, at the end.
Yeah.
See, where I started getting clued up by it is when is the scene again in the middle of the park where Pennywise is like, I know your
He's on
secret.
top of, what's his name?
Oh,
how do we
Paul
forget this?
Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan.
Yeah.
I did not know that was a thing until we Googled it afterwards. Like, it's a legit thing. He's like been in Marvel Comics with Captain America. He's got like multiple statues around America. There's a Disney film about Paul Bunyan.
Standout character.
Never knew that either.
Paul fucking Bunyan. Apparently it's a legit thing. I thought it was just a casual lumberjack in Derry, Maine. So yeah, I didn't think it was that obvious. And even when it was like, I know your secret, blah, 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 like that scene.
Yeah, I feel like I should have worked out now looking back on it, but it still didn't. And even when Richie as a kid is in the arcade playing on Street Fighter, he's bonding with this guy and he's like, oh, do you want another game? I've got a quarter here. Let's
that's the only time where I kind of thought.
Then you've got Bowers that walks in. As soon as the kid sees Henry Bowers, he starts calling him a faggot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, Richie, feeling ganged up on, just walks out and
don't feel it like
it.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was Henry Bowers being the bully that he is, and I didn't take the words that Henry Bowers was saying as serious.
Literal.
As literally affecting Richie. But now looking back on it, that was an obvious hint.
Yeah, I think that's the only time I kind of thought it was just for the way he was like, oh, he's going, and then it was like, oh, well, I've got this, so you can stay, type thing.
Yeah.
Like when they're playing the Street Fighter. I think that's the only time when obviously the correlation with that it was that scene and then the Pennywise doing the whole "I know your secret" blah blah blah. I think that's the only hint at it. Like I didn't expect like a big massive like scene about it, or I kind of expected it when obviously Eddie's then been killed and they're out in the lake. I kind of thought they're like, oh, it'll come out then or something like that, and it still wasn't.
Do you know what? That was brutal when he's just sat in the lake crying. I was like, oh, this is rough.
This is heavy.
I've just thought of something now. So obviously, when it first shows you his character and that, like, there's no indication of it. Well, it doesn't really show you in a relationship with anyone, does it?
No.
But obviously, at first, it doesn't show you that he's gay, or obviously, it's not like he's even come out at all since then. He's just had these feelings. Obviously, he's a comedian, all that. In a way, he's kind of like a sad clown.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're a truth bomb there, man.
Yeah. He's kind of like a sad clown. This is kind of like, so...
Drop the bomb.
Yeah, just like a Pennywise comparison, like...
Yeah.
They're relatable.
Yeah. I think it was the whole thing they tried to nail with was that they were trying to do it where he's like, oh, he's not ready to come out to his friends and stuff like that. So it's kind of like... It's
Pennywise has this over him.
Yeah.
Do you think the rest of the guys know in the Losers Club?
No, because he said at the beginning when that Chinese restaurant, he goes, oh, I've got a wife.
Oh,
and everyone's like, really? Like, so I think if they've kept it as that, and then at some point he may eventually like go, oh, by the way, I am gay or whatever else. But that's wherever they go with it. In terms of scenes, what was everyone's standout scene?
I'm struggling here for this.
Are you struggling?
Yeah. Trying to think. Like, I love the Paul Bunyan coming to life and scaring young Richie. That was brutal.
That I think that was the only main one that I've said this to you two before, but that's the main one that made me jump.
Yeah.
Because I just wasn't expecting it.
I did like how there was different scares, like Paul Bunyan, and it wasn't just, oh, the leper, oh, the headless boy carrying eggs and shit. It was different.
The Ben and Beverly bit
good.
was brutal. Like in this flashback, where he literally like uses that poem that he wrote Bev against him with her like fire literally setting Beverly's head on fire.
Yeah, it was crazy that. I did like Mrs. Kirsch.
Yeah.
We saw it in the trailer, and then you see a bit more actually watching the scene where she's all lanky and wobbly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's when she walks out the building, she turns around and it's literally just an abandoned building.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think to me, my favourite scene was the one where James McAvoy's character was running straight into the funhouse with the mirrors.
Right.
Because you expect, like, for me, I was expecting, he's going to go save this kid. He's going to, like, you know, like, usually it's the cliche thing where it's like, oh, we're going to go save him, and they just managed to save him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But on this one, it's like you got trapped in. You think, oh yeah, he's gonna get this kid. Like he's gonna save him, and then you realise that like he's trying to kick this. You think he's trying to kick the mirrors through. You think fucking hell, he's gonna get through eventually. He's gonna beat Pennywise to it. No,
it's like reminds me of Scream. You know, the bait of like Drew Barrymore, the lead actress, dead in the first few minutes. It was like that with the boy. Just, oh look, James McAvoy's almost cracking the glass.
Because like this boy to James McAvoy's character, Bill.
Yeah.
That was a very important thing to him, like saving this kid because it's
who
like,
lived in his house.
He lived in his house. It's like him saving George. So I thought, well, this is one of those moments where like he's obviously going to save this kid and it's going to make him feel better. But nope, Pennywise just takes that opportunity, and it's the bit. It's a very freaky Pennywise bit as well, where he just appears from behind the glass and he's like licking the glass.
Oh no, it's him headbutting the glass. I was like, what the fuck? Of all the fucking ways you could break down that glass, you're just going to keep headbutting until it breaks.
Because it was so
that is messed up.
It was a really freaky scene, that
like, oh my god. That and the whole, I thought they were going to save the girl who was underneath the
bleachers.
Yeah.
At a baseball game. That was... Wait, when did that come about? I'm lost. Was that...
It was just a scene.
One of the opening scenes, or was that randomly in
It was just
middle?
A random scene of him killing a kid.
So it didn't really lead anywhere.
I think it was just to kind of show that Pennywise is just doing his business as usual.
No, but that was the kid that got given the teddy bear by that gay couple at the beginning.
Speaking of which, that opening
Who's
scene,
cool,
we knew there was a hate crime. because it's in the books and it's well known.
Yeah.
But that opening scene was brutal.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. Like, I did not expect that for the opening scene. Like,
No.
I did love, though, the river of balloons and how you see in this guy's body and his field of vision in the river looking up, and you see just a silhouette with red hair, and then,
the
back
eyes.
down,
Yeah.
and then it's the dead lights in his eyes, and then he goes back down, and then he's
Is that how you
dragging him
think,
out of
like,
the water.
oh, he's actually helping him? Oh, that's nice. Oh, he's dead.
No,
oh,
not
he's
at
gone.
all.
Yeah, he's gone. Oh, dear. But it's the whole thing of that, they portray this thing of, oh, these people have done nothing wrong. We'll kill them. Just like,
Yeah.
it's very much in that sense of that anyone who's a piece of shit is probably okay in terms of a Stephen King like adaptation. But if you're a nice person, you are fucked. Like there is no happy ending for you whatsoever. Like it's the, like I was saying with the girl. I kind of expected, like I think we said when we actually watched the trailer originally, oh, that's gonna be like Bill Hader's kid or something like that. I think we said something along that.
Yeah, something like that.
We were well wrong. Like,
Yeah, because we really broke down that trailer.
yeah,
Spoke about what we were hoping for. If you don't know, you can go listen to it. However, I think we were way off, but there was pleasant surprises along the way.
yeah, we were right about the whole funeral invitation for Richie. Joey gets past the flyer,
oh, yeah. Just after the Paul.
but after the flashback, the Paul Bunyan bit,
Yeah.
and he gets past the flyer from the dead guy, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
Pennywise is the thing. We was right about that it was him on it, so it was kind of like a comparison to the first film, when obviously there's the missing flyers and stuff like that. We was right about that.
We were wrong about saying the final act will take place in the funhouse. Which is something we thought it would,
Yeah.
which, looking back on it now, we were clearly wrong.
We were definitely wrong.
But I thought they would have used that funhouse a bit more. It seems like such a great setting,
I thought they would have used that a lot more.
rather than just
And it was just
the opening
Bill.
scene.
It was just Bill, wasn't it? It was just his
Bill.
character, yeah.
Yeah. And that was one thing that stood out for me as well. Bill very much just goes off and does his own thing. And he was very separate than the rest of the group, I felt anyway.
Well, it seemed very much like they should. The whole perk of the first film was that they worked well as a group.
Yeah.
Like that interaction between those characters was the key thing that made that first film special. In this one, it's very much like each person separate. There's a lot of them where they spend a lot of the film separated.
And I understand that with it being you've forgot everything that's happened in Derry, which is a bit weird to begin with. I don't know what the book talks about, whether that's true.
Apparently, it's meant to be like some sort of like amnesia from the fact that they're out of Derry.
Yeah,
That they've forgotten all these
they're
events and stuff
suppressing
like
it
that.
because it was so horrific. I get that.
I think that's meant to be the thing. I'm surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. That's not really the word for this type of thing. Where they included that obviously Bev's now in an abusive like relationship with her husband.
Yeah, they only really used that when she was leaving, though.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain in the story. We're speaking out of our asses here because none of us have read the book. But I'm fairly sure I heard that her abusive husband followed her and is one of the things that comes back alongside Pennywise. And the same with Bill's wife.
Yeah, in the miniseries, like Bill's
Yeah.
wife's a key thing.
Yeah.
The cunts, and they come back to harass our main characters.
Bastards.
So another thing I want to talk about is the cameos in the film.
Yeah.
There's two big ones. The first one being Ben's character. So Brandon Crane, the guy who played Ben when he was a kid in the original
Yeah.
It. So in the 1990 film It, there was Brandon Crane played Ben.
Yeah.
And he came back for this film. I don't know if you saw it right at the beginning. So he's in the conference.
Yeah.
That Ben's character, that the
Oh,
older
right,
Ben
okay.
from the new film.
It's like passing the torch over to the new Ben.
So the real older Ben who played younger Ben in the 1990s one is in the conference that the new older Ben,
New older
if you get what I mean, is so confusing But yeah, he's in the conference.
Yeah.
Which is
That's
which
sick.
is
I never
cool.
knew that.
That's pretty cool.
Like, and then obviously the good old Stephen King.
Who's that?
Making a
Yeah, who's Stephen King, mate?
Yeah, I've never heard of him.
Well, we shouldn't be doing this podcast.
So Stephen King makes quite a big cameo. That's probably the biggest cameo I've seen in the film in a while.
Well, that didn't get ruined for me. I didn't know that was going to happen.
No, I
so It was a
didn't.
really nice surprise when
That was pretty
you
cool.
open the doors to that shop and there's Stephen King.
And you know what? He wasn't
Wonder-
that bad.
No, I wonder if he's going to be Stanley.
I know. I thought that.
appearing in
I
all
thought,
his
I hope they're doing a
films.
Stanley kind of thing.
Well,
yeah.
apparently, I've seen that there's a big giant graph of how all Stephen King books interlink somehow.
Yeah, that is a common thing amongst
So
Stephen King fans.
there's quite a few transcripts in different books with quotes about that someone's hallucinating and that they see a clown with balloons and stuff like
yeah,
that.
the main undercurrent is Pennywise is in every Stephen King book.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea of it. It's not they're all linked like a Marvel fucking universe. It's Pennywise is throughout.
Yeah. And it's then something to that interlinks with the Dark Tower.
Yeah.
And that's the main reason why Pennywise is on Earth, and it all kind of blends and all that shit. I'd tell you more if I knew more about it, but that's pretty much it.
Well, it was like
You've
when I
got the
watched
internet for
what was that?
You've got the internet for that. If you
Yeah.
really want to find out.
I recently watched the Pet Cemetery because
Yeah,
I was a bit
remember
late
you
to the
saying about
party
this.
watching that, and
The remake, right?
yeah, the remake, yeah.
John
and-
Cusack one.
Is it?
No, is that
John
the...
Cusack's the original.
No, I'm thinking of... Oh, shit, what's his name? John Lithgow.
Sure.
No?
We
We'll go
really
with
know
it.
our horror movies, don't we?
I
Can't
want
remember
to...
who directed.
The one that came out like a couple
Anyway,
months
yeah,
ago.
it was the recent Pet Cemetery,
God.
and there's a scene in it where the woman's stuck in traffic, basically, and there's on the side of the road, of the highway or whatever, there's a sign there saying Derry, 20 miles.
Oh, really?
John Lithgow.
John Lithgow.
Hey, yeah, it says Derry, 20 miles, which I spotted straight away. I was like, oh, that's a cool little, nice little
Yeah,
Easter
I
egg
like
in there.
that.
Well, I'm not on form tonight. The majority of Stephen King books are based in Derry, Maine.
Yeah.
That seems to be like a recurring thing.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to mention as well, I saw another review of Chapter 2, and he kind of made a comment on the fella that plays older Ben, and they say that he did a terrible performance and that he didn't really act like he was like still wanting Beverly and stuff like that, and he didn't really have the same emotion in comparison to
The kid.
the kid.
See, to me, I find it hard to buy into this good-looking architect who's clearly made of money, got a six-pack, would turn most men, is struggling to get a woman in an abusive relationship.
But the problem with
Just
this,
not
though,
true, is it?
I
Let's
know,
be honest.
But she
Bring
has
this up to you.
she has more of a like kind of childhood crush on Bill.
Yeah.
But because all along she thinks that Bill's the one who gave her that postcard.
Yeah, but here's the thing with this
For
as
the
well.
majority of the film, Ben
There-
is friend-zoned.
Yeah, and it's the whole thing of that. Oh, you wrote me this poem. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I now find you attractive. And also the other thing with this as well is that the scene of where Bill and Beverly kiss, and that's it. There is no kind of like, no, we shouldn't do this, or like, no, I'm not really into you, or anything like that. Obviously, you've got a wife now, and stuff like that. That's pretty much it. There is no resolution with that.
No,
It's
it
just
just kind
something
of
that's kind of
happened.
happened.
So if
it's
any
under the
young
carpet.
boys are listening, don't write a girl a poem. And if any girls are listening, if a guy writes you a poem,
Find out who he is properly.
ignore him.
I mean, he gave all the signs that it wasn't him. It was like, what you talk January Embers? What? Wait, what?
Yeah, like in the first film, he's like, I don't do poetry.
Yeah.
That is like the biggest red herring that it is not me who has done this. If someone says, I don't do poetry, and you have a poem,
Probably not
it's
that guy.
probably not that guy. Get your facts straight, Beverly. Fact check that shit. But yeah, I didn't think he was that bad. Like in terms of like his actual like performance of older Ben, I think weirdly it kind of looked like what he would look like older as well. which is kind of a comment that I'd kind of make for all of them.
Yeah.
Especially, obviously, Bill Hader.
Like, it really shows off how accurate they got those... The cast in general, when you see the transition from face to face when...
Yeah.
I'm trying to
It's
think.
Eddie.
Eddie is downstairs in the pharmacy, and he sees his mother strapped to that bed behind the curtain, and then it transitions to the older him, and it's so accurate, the fact that they can do that.
Yeah.
It really just shows off how good it is.
Pedo pharmacist.
Oh, don't. It's
He
the
was
fact he was
creepy.
still going in the
Yeah.
second film. It's just like, oh, go away. I find it funny the fact that that bully girl is
She was
still in the
there,
pharmacy.
Yeah.
Blowing her bubbles.
But no. What surprised me as well is with Eddie, you think that at the end of the first film, there's some sort of character development with him where he's like, I don't need these placebo pills. And then gazebos. And then there's a shot with him just grabbing his fanny pack full of meds. Like, which
yeah,
was
but he's forgot about Derry. So
Yeah.
you can forgive the...
No, but it was that scene of when after they leave the Kneebolt house originally from
and
the first
he
film.
throws them, doesn't he?
He throws them, and then there's
Yeah.
a shot afterwards where he's like, I need that.
Yeah,
if I can go
yeah,
and
good
gets it. And then there's a whole thing that they use the same actress or actor, I should say now, 21st century and all
God.
that. Where they use the same actor for Mrs. K as his wife in the second film.
Really?
Yeah, because in the book there's the thing of where you could put two and two of them together and they look the same. So it's essentially he's married his mother. So they use the same person to portray his wife as well.
Right.
To kind of give that, obviously, a portrayal which is correct to the book.
Yeah.
Did you know Del Toro was supposed to be a cameo?
Yes.
But they didn't manage to...
What was he
do
meant
it.
to be in it?
He was going to be the janitor that Bill bumps into as he runs out of the locker.
Oh, Ben.
Yeah, sorry, Ben, not Bill. Jesus.
On form tonight.
You are getting an A-star podcast tonight, people.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is no faults within this podcast. If there is, please report it to weknow@anearfulpodcast.com.
I thought that would have been good, but it just couldn't happen. But it's not a major.
A major issue.
No. They're talking about doing more shit, aren't they?
I know Bill Skarsgård said he would be up for playing Pennywise again. Obviously, if it was a prequel to it.
I think that would be really interesting. It'd be good.
What do you think by prequel? Like, do you think how Pennywise got there, or like kind of like the past things?
No,
that
I'm
have
not even
happened?
interested in how he got there. I just want some weird, like, 1800 Victorian Pennywise lurking around. You can get sort of different types of...
So he's in that kind of like that circus, one of those like traveling circuses.
Yeah, but you can have like... Obviously, that's a completely different time period, so you can have all these sort of different scary looks and characters and figures that should be so much more horrifying.
So here's the thing with this.
I think that'd be cool.
So, number one, the whole thing is that I think the quote from Andy Muschietti, the director, was that with it being that he's been around for thousands upon thousands of years, there was like hundreds of different times when he's come back every 27 years that he can adapt.
Yeah.
My other point is that I don't want this to become the Conjuring universe.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's a Warner Brother film.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers, even.
Just the one brother.
Yeah. Just the one. Just Warner.
Just the one.
No brother. Just one. But it's a partnership with New Line Cinema.
Right, okay.
So there is always the potential that this could go way out of hand if they want it to.
I don't think you even make it a film. Do like Black Mirror style TV show. Every episode is a different time period of the different looks that Pennywise has gone through and is just haunting and killing people. And there's a chunk of 27 years in a 30-minute, 45-minute episode.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a better, more up-to-date HD version of when they did the Freddy's Nightmares.
Yeah.
They had like randomly Brad Pitt getting killed and shit like that.
I think there's so many different approaches. We can all give our like 20 pence on what we think they should do. There's so many
would
different
it be
fun
worth
ideas.
I think from an art side and from the creative side, they should leave it as the two.
But money, Lon.
I know, but sweet ass money down them sewers.
But you know what? I don't want to wait. I'd love to see more. I don't want to wait even longer for.
So that's the problem.
rebooting
Once
this
we've got
now.
it, we want more. We
That's
want more until it's ruined.
Yeah.
And then we start complaining about it.
Yeah. And I will, and you'll find out on episode 30. I fucking hate what they've done. But until then.
Yeah, like, there's always the opportunity. There is tons of Stephen King books, and I mean tons they could
Speaking
fuck
of
around with.
which, we just watched a trailer for Doctor Sleep.
Yes.
Interesting, which
Oh.
we'll probably talk about in an intro or outro.
Looks mint. But we'll get to that. Obviously, there's the adaptation on Netflix for Jell's Game. There has been Pet Sematary, obviously, like you said. There was the adaptation of Dark Tower with the slight reference to Pennywise in it,
See,
which only certain people have clicked onto recently, even though it's in blatant fucking capital letters, says
We'll,
Pennywise and balloons.
be on our Instagram, you'll be able to see that.
Yeah. But there's a lot that can be done with that. I mean, there's the old one, Misery, with
That
James
is a
Caan.
brutal movie.
That was a brilliant movie, though. Do you think they'd remake that?
I don't think they would because of
I
it
don't think
being.
you can.
It's like redoing The Shining now.
Yeah.
Hence
no.
why they've got Doctor Sleep now, because
Yeah.
they know damn well they can't touch
Can't-
The
yeah.
Shining anymore.
Yeah, The Shining got a cult following. Thingy fucking hates it, Mr. King. But he's now cashing in on the sequel. I'm sorry.
Do you think all
Yeah.
these new movies that are going to be coming out, that's Stephen King adaptations, do you think these are all going to try and link in the new Pennywise into each one of them? And obviously, because like the new Pet Sematary linked in Derry,
That could be interesting because in which case
so we'll get our own universe of Stephen King.
I wouldn't mind that. As long as it was a subtle hint and it's not in your face. Like,
Yeah.
there's a good and bad way to do it.
Like I said in Pet Sematary, it was literally just that short clip of when they're in the thing and it's just showed Derry in the background. So just little Easter eggs like that. Is that what you mean? Just to kind of link 'em?
Maybe, or would you want? You can see the fact that Pennywise is linked to all these movies.
Yeah.
And do you want it a bit more in your face? And that's what we get as Bill playing Pennywise rather than doing a shitload of prequel It movies or doing an episodic version.
See, that was the impressive thing about Bill Skarsgård has nailed that performance.
It's a great adaptation.
It's very much like, again, with the Freddy Krueger thing, it's more the performance than the person, like the movements and stuff like that. It's the voice, it's the characteristics of that.
Well, I
He's
think
made it its own in comparison to Tim Curry's, which is also good as well, but
one thing to appreciate is when something is already out in pop culture and it's out there and you watch it, that becomes your only point of reference. And to actually take something like that, adapt it, put your own spin on it, but keep it original to what's been written, and then do an amazing performance and have it so well rounded and put together. The best example is Heath Ledger doing the Joker.
Yeah.
correct.
But then you look at Pennywise, he only had, well, not Pennywise, Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
His version, he only had Tim Curry to go off and the book, and he gets this amazing character.
Yeah.
It's so well done.
But again, there's like, in terms of the Joker, there's that much reference material you can go off. Like, I mean, you've got Joaquin Phoenix now doing the Joker film, which is out next month, which has already got high praisal, which can either mean that it's fucking terrible and it's all a load of shit, or it actually is like an outstanding performance. Like, I mean, in terms of like the cinematography, it looks amazing so far. But what the point I'm getting at is that there's still opportunity to, because there's so much like material to go off, which is kind of the opposite to Pennywise.
Yeah, I think that's the point I'm making. That's how good this Pennywise is, and that's why I want more of it, is because we only have Tim Curry and the book as our reference material.
Yeah, correct.
It's so good. I want more. I want to be selfish.
So, with this new Doctor Sleep film, do you think that Stephen King is going to have another cameo in it? And do you think they'll put another Pennywise or It reference in that film?
They could easily work in a Pennywise reference, let's be honest.
Well, do you think Stephen King is going to be in it though? Because like, do you think that was just a one-off, or do you think they're going to make it like a Stan Lee kind of thing now?
I think it's going to be a one-off because he disliked The Shining, and from the trailer, see, there's one thing that bugs me about the Dr. Sleep trailer. You can't work out what it's trying to be because it's got scenes from the original that have been remastered and look amazing.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Like when I saw the lift scene with the blood coming out of it again, I got a little bit of a
Flashbacks.
I got a little bit of a throat bomb.
It's when he's lying down on the floor and you hear the twins.
Yeah.
Like, hello, Danny.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the bit as well.
Hard.
I got an even bigger erection when they was walking through the maze as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
No, just the theme tune.
yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I think that's about the time where I climaxed.
Keep in mind, that film only has 2 songs that play throughout of it, but you know that beginning one so well. We're going off on a tangent here.
Massive tangent.
Or is this It Chapter 2 and Dr. Sleep?
Probably not, but
No.
It's kind of like an overall Stephen King.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of just like
Appreciate it.
blending. So I've just Googled Stephen King books, right?
No, fucking hell, here we go.
So
Put your feet up, mate.
just to
Come on,
just
then.
to show you from this, I'm just going to scroll down. Like there is that much you could go off. Willing that the past, like the bottom 6, are all to do with the Dark Tower.
Jesus Christ.
So
So
they could easily adapt Dark Tower into a TV series, like a Netflix series.
It'd have to be an ongoing, like, Walking Dead style, constant.
yeah, because there's that much they could do with it, which is a shame that it kind of fell like face first at the box office and stuff like that. That's why they'll never kind of give an attempt for it for quite a while now.
Well, what they might be doing is, look at how well these Stephen King films are doing. Let's reboot the Dark Tower.
But I mean, you've got, just to name a few, like, I mean, it's been a long time since they did a film called The Tommyknockers, which is, look at you, which is, it has the reference to Pennywise in it.
What's the reference?
Where he says that it's hallucinating and that he sees a clown with like balloons and red hair.
Oh, okay.
So there's potential there. What they do with it, who knows?
What's that
Let's
called?
Let's
again?
just
the
let's just
fucking,
recap on what the name is, just to get Mike's reaction
What's that
again.
called again?
Tommyknockers. Tommy. You're absolute child. But yeah, I mean, the amount of films that have come from a Stephen King book, like, I mean, what, you got The Green Mile,
Yeah, his writing is amazing.
Carrie, Salem's Lot, it obviously is Shining, Dark Tower. You could go on for days, especially Tommyknockers. But yeah, to wrap up the point, there's a lot they could do with it
Yeah.
if they wanted to. It's just dependent whether they want to kind of keep prodding the whole Pennywise, let's see how much money we can shake from this.
They've got to make a decision of whether do they create, prequels for Pennywise, or do they just subtly make reference to it in the new films coming out?
And there'd be nothing wrong with that, with the whole fact of that in the books, it does that.
Yeah, which is fine. But would we get to see Bill Skarsgård's interpretation of that in any of the new movies? Probably not.
Oh, the other alternative, why don't they just wait? They don't need to cash in on it now. Why don't they
No.
wait a good few years before they do another?
They might do, but they did turn around this sequel very quickly.
I think that's kind of new because of the kids.
Yeah.
I think that was the main thought, was that we need to use these again, which I'm surprised at, actually. I didn't think there was going to be that many flashbacks.
Yeah, I'm happy they were in it as much as the
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that scene where the one scene I loved, which I'm just fully remembering, is the fortune cookie bit where
Oh, yeah.
you realise it's trying to spell something out and it's fucking with them. And the trash in the the restaurant is so funny. She just walks in.
She walks in.
She doesn't say anything.
That's the other thing as well. So we read an article of like 30 of the
love
biggest
this.
plot holes with It Chapter 2. And number one being the fact that they smashed the shit out of that like reserve room and stuff like that.
Destroyed it.
Nothing gets said. There's no managers, there's no anything. It's either people in Derry just do not give a fuck, or they had some magical power, or Pennywise just paid it off and the slime out. It was my fault. I'll just cash it. I'll just sort this out, guys. Thanks. Yeah, okay,
My
cheers.
absolute favourite plot hole in that article is these adults have seen... These people have seen 2 adults scream at this little boy and then he went missing. No one asks any questions.
That's a good point, that,
Because
yeah.
Bill Hader shouts at him at the very beginning,
Yeah.
and then so does
James McAvoy.
James
So
McAvoy,
Bill,
yeah.
like the specific like wording of it is, why is James McAvoy not being arrested for screaming at that child?
It's so funny, and all of a sudden now he's dead.
The other thing as well of that, Eddie's dead. This is my fault as well. So Eddie's died. There is no body. There is. How do they explain that Eddie's dead? Do whatever funeral or whatever else they do want to do for him.
This is what I think about with the films as well. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
So
What, you want repercussions for them?
No, you want some sort of realism to it. 'Cause I know what you mean. His body's inside of there now. Where did they explain? where
Henry
his
Bowers
body's
is
gone?
in a library with an axe in his head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, this. If this was in real life,
So who's cleaning up those bodies? Because like, he drives. What's his character's name again?
yeah. That
He just drives off at the end and leaves the dead body inside his apartment.
well, it's
Abo-
not. It's
above
in the library, isn't it?
Or was it actually in the? Oh,
Yeah,
it was
and
actually
then
in the
and then
library,
Mike comes back, packs his shit up.
and just leave.
That's what
and
I'm saying.
leaves.
So they just leave the body in there, and then no one suspects the thing. But it's like obviously the police would turn up. Mike would get hunted down, get arrested.
For number one, he's a black man, so therefore someone's gonna be like,
Yeah,
"It's you, it's definitely." With how racist that fucking place is.
with Donald Trump as president. Yeah.
Wait, what year are we in here?
Oh shit! It's based in 2016. It's okay. Barack's still there. It's okay.
Well, it's not. Oh, yeah, it will be, won't it? Yeah.
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 'Cause it's 27 years later. You racist fuckers.
But yeah, with how fucked up that place is, he would have definitely got that pin in him. All of them would have been on fucking trial for the fact
Oh,
that
for sure.
Eddie's dead. Fucking, there's a dude with an axe in his head in the fucking library. Mike's packed up and bailed, probably with the body still downstairs. No one's like flickered an eye at it.
It is weird, isn't it?
Yeah. And then
Are we just thinking too far into it?
well, yeah, but it's the massive plot holes that you got with it.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? How did they explain that to Eddie's wife? Like, his husband went on a trip, never came back.
Yeah.
Like,
Married abroad. Sorry, love, it's over.
yeah. You look exactly like my mum. Oh, wait.
And then I remember there was another one as well. When there was like when there was kids, why did they not try and decide to go to the police? I know they'd probably be like, "Oh, the police won't listen to them." But it's like at least they got an opportunity there to try and get the police involved in it.
One thing I want to ask you both. What did you think of the guy, Henry Bowers' friend, driving him around?
Oh,
as this dead
Hofstadter.
Oh
zombie?
yeah, what was that
This
about?
was a bit
Discount Adam Driver.
But then again, though, like
Dave Grohl.
Kylo Ren.
obviously that was him seeing his own like. Obviously, his friend coming back because they all see stuff, don't they? Like,
Yeah,
obviously, it
they
shows you
do,
the
they
flashbacks.
do.
They're
Yeah.
all having these sort of like weird like imaginations and stuff. But obviously, if that was from someone else's perspective, would it just not show Henry Bowers driving the car? To him, it's obviously
Yeah,
his friends.
possibly. That's a good
Alternatively,
way of looking at it.
Pennywise is a sick driver.
Yeah.
Well, I also want to know, why does Pennywise use Henry Bowers? Is that because it's a fear of the... I've answered my own question here. It's because it's a fear of the kids, wasn't it?
Yeah, because obviously Henry Bowers already had.
He's a bully.
Yeah, it was a bully. Already had this fear above all the kids. So again, it's using fears
Yeah.
against the children.
No,
so
my
it's-
question was, why wouldn't... Because Pennywise is so powerful, why wouldn't he just get rid of Bowers and kill him just like his
I didn't
friend?
see the point of him. Like,
He felt pointless in this one.
he felt pointless in this. He felt pointless in the past one, of where he stabs Mike and then accidentally stabs himself when they fall over. So that's how Henry Bowers dies in the miniseries.
Oh, you're talking about the miniseries, okay.
Yeah, and then Mike ends up in hospital, isn't there, for the final battle. So it's all very like, there is absolutely no point of Henry Bowers being in this. Like, Pennywise could have just done something else. There was no point of dragging him in back into it. Although it was creepy as fuck when all like the dead body parts are coming back out of like the sewers and like floating and all that shit, and then he wakes up, there's like someone's head just like casually floating past, and oh man. Also, it showed obviously the repercussions of him actually killing his dad.
Yeah, I did like. Well, I liked it, but then why have we not got repercussions for everything else?
Yeah.
You got that flashback of him walking back home as if nothing had happened, and then
Covered in
all
blood.
the police are like kicking the shit out of him
Yeah.
because he's killed his dad, a police officer. I
But how did they know it was him?
think it was fairly obvious.
Yeah, but at the same time, though,
Also-
he probably took his knife with him.
His knife.
No,
Yeah.
but he shouts. Henry Bowers shouts something as he's getting
Yeah,
knocked
it's
out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, to give it away as if to say, I need to go and kill them all. I need to finish it off
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. So
Right. Okay.
he kind of admits it right there.
True.
In conclusion, as a whole, just It Chapter 2, first of all. Did you enjoy it? Would you watch it again? I know I really did. I will watch it again, but I think it's one of them where if someone said to me I'm not a fan of horror, this is probably the easiest one to introduce them
Well,
to.
I saw this in a different thing where they were like, "This is probably the best film to get a teenager into horror films."
Yeah.
It's like the go-to beginner's
Yeah,
guide of horror
definitely,
films.
yeah.
Like, you don't jump straight to like The Exorcist or like I did, or anything else. This would pretty much be the easiest go-to. Where, yeah, you don't show like a fucking 8-year-old, like, but like, no, don't go near them. To be fair, it's a good idea, so they don't go near sewers and shit like that, or wander off. That's the best idea ever. Don't go wandering off in Asda, or Pennywise will get you.
Don't worry, listeners. He's not a
It's
father
kind of
yet.
funny because as a child myself, I got into horror through Goosebumps. Then I watched, obviously, Halloween and then It. I remember, obviously, It was like one of my first horror films. So
Really?
That's kind of like it. Yeah, I remember that I was like 6 and I remember sitting there with a jam sandwich on my day off school watching It on TV. Honestly, I don't know why. I
Did
just
it
always
terrify
remember that.
you, or was you just like, eh?
I must have been a fucked up kid because I just never bothered me at all.
Really?
Yeah, like watching Goosebumps and that, I used to love it. And then
Well,
even when I
Goosebumps
watched
to It is two very different
I
things.
don't know.
Yeah.
It never bothered me. Same
Can
with
we
Halloween.
explain what Goosebumps is for people who might not know?
If you don't know what Goosebumps is, I'm fucking. Well, actually, I'm not talking about the new shitty Goose. I love Jack Black, but fuck me, like these new Goosebumps is too fucking. Just it's not Goosebumps. If you want to watch Goosebumps, he's probably on Netflix in it, and I'm
it is,
talking
'cause,
about the 1990
yeah.
series
Yeah, it
Goosebumps.
is
that
because I've watched it recently.
yeah,
Does it still hold up?
No.
mate, there was some good episodes. I'll read the books as well. I just begged my parents to
Can
get
you
me the books.
explain what it
and
is
stuff.
for listeners like who
It's
might
basically
not know?
little short horror stories for kids and teenagers about different stuff like werewolves is in it. You got werewolves. You got sponges as well that kill people. That's one of them. There's loads of different stuff, but it was really good.
Fuck.
Yeah, Haunted Mask. Remember that one? It sticks to her face and she can't get the mask
Oh,
off.
I do remember that one.
I remember that
Yeah.
one.
I watched one recently where she goes missing in the woods, and it's like this. What's the fucking thing called? It's the scary part of a roller coaster. Not good.
Ghost Train.
Ghost train, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just she gets lost in a ghost train.
Yeah.
And someone's holding her kidnapped.
Oh.
Honestly, Goosebumps was really good, and I guess that's what kind of got me
Yeah.
Yeah.
into it. Yeah.
See, I was really late to the party with it. Like, I think I only properly recently watched it in like the past couple of years, from the fact that obviously the 2017 version was coming out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you know me quite well. I've been quite a pussy when it comes to fucking horror films in the past and all that. So I remember iconically the clown and the clown's face changing,
Yeah.
because it was like some people could have it as like the fucking wallpaper on the Nokia phone or something
Yeah.
like that, because people did that. But actually watching it within context, that took quite a while, I think. Like, I was very, 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 very late to the party with that.
My first experience with it was I had an ex-girlfriend who was terrified of clowns, so I used to print pages of it and hide them around the house. But I used to be scared of clowns from watching a show called Life on Mars, which was a TV show. It was really good, but you had David Bowie dressed as this David Bowie
the
style
White Duke.
clown.
Yeah.
Shit me up because I watched that as a kid, and it
As in the
terrified
John
me.
Sim program
Yeah.
with Gene Hunt and that.
Yeah. It terrified the shit out of me. I was like, nope. But then now I'm not too bothered.
I used to just remember the
fun fact.
VHS covers And I always remember seeing that in the house. And there's a bit. If you look at the original cover, it's where it's kind of tearing down the page, and his claws are hanging over it. And I always used to like look at that cover and think, why has he got claws and stuff like that? And then,
yeah. Well, now when it came out, the remake, that was my first date with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first horror movies where I'm like, I'm gonna shit myself, but I'm gonna act like I enjoy it. And all of a sudden, it sparks like, this is fucking brilliant. Pennywise is so good. I was really looking forward to this second one.
Yeah.
And I don't think it disappointed, but it left me feeling like I wanted something more out of it. I don't know. I did, once that film ended, I was still sat there like, I don't know, there was something to me missing. How did you feel?
I'll tell you the full story in this. So, with the first It film, to tactfully impress like the whole fact that I was going to the cinemas with my other half, I thought, do you know what? I'll see what the scenes are of like him popping out and shit like that, just to kind of prep myself just in case. So I don't look I'm jumping off my seat. So I kind of ruined it for myself the first time round. But when with this time round,
that's a tactic.
I've never heard of anyone watching the scenes that with the jump scares to prep themselves before a horror movie. I've never heard that before.
See, I'm terrible for the fact if a film comes out, I'll see how it ends, like online, and
you're
then
really
watch
bad
it.
for spoiling stuff.
I'm
like,
horrendous
for a series that you don't even. What you do it with like The Walking Dead and everything. Like, honest to God, he does it with me. I'm like, oh mate, have you watched The Walking Dead? It's so good. No, I've not watched it. But I was like, I know what happens on. I was like, are you kidding me? You know what happens before I do, and I'm the one who's watching it.
Yeah, like
he spoils it for himself. He was like, oh, I'll watch it some point. Well, there's no point now because you know the fucking ending.
But it doesn't bother me. Like I'll be interested to see how that plays out.
Oh no!
I don't know how he does it. He literally Game of Thrones is another one. He knows the ending to that. He's watched bits of clips on YouTube and he's never watched the series.
Yeah, I got up to season 3 with Walking Dead, but I know how Rick Grimes left.
Oh, fuck's sake!
And I've seen the scene on YouTube of how he goes. That's the bad thing. That's the bad thing about fucking
you.
Me, number one. 2, fucking YouTube in general. Because I could just type such a person, deaf. It'll pop up.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh.
It is true.
But this time around, do you know what? I'm just going to watch it. I'm going to enjoy it. If I shit myself, I shit myself.
Mate, but that's what horror's for. Like, you know what I mean? Back in like the 60s when all these like horror films were coming out, like Universal Monsters, people were shitting themselves then. And you watch it now and you think, how are people scared of that? But obviously we're so desensitized to like horror and everything that we see there. Like,
I think that's why everything's upped now. Like everything's like
a bit more intense.
Has to be with the max and has to have like the loud soundtrack to compensate for what obviously is happening on the screen.
Yeah, again, like the soundtracks nowadays help enhance the film more than anything. Like compared to older films, you watch like a Universal Monsters film, the soundtrack doesn't help it as much.
This is one of the things we were talking about in the very first episode of this, was watching a horror movie on mute does nothing. It's all about...
Yeah.
And do you know what is weird? Film is the only medium where it sort of has to be bundled in with music to tell you to feel something subliminally. It's really baffling. But like, you do get some films that are so good at storytelling, like it's never really needed. But in horror, it builds that anticipation, and it has caused jump scares because now we're at a point where we can make things so much louder than you already thought was loud. That it's a natural shock. If an earthquake went on, you'd be shocked straight away because it's not anticipated.
Yeah, I think the films now are heavily reliant on the natural human impulse of that. If something is louder, it makes sure. It's like, for example, when you put headphones on, the music's louder than you expected it to.
Yeah,
it's the same type of like jerk reaction with it. Lovely.
Thank you.
And sometimes it is a bit too reliant on that. I mean, I guess with this one, they kind of up the levels on how many times it like. I think they kind of took the contrast from the first one where people went, it wasn't scary enough. It didn't make me jump that much. They tried to play on that.
See, I thought the opposite, though. I really did not jump as much with the second one, but the first one had me, like, clenching the side of my seat.
But see, I think, like I said, the only time I actually properly jumped with this one was the Paul Bunyan. Fucking Paul fucking Bunyan. Try and find one when you go to America in a couple of weeks. Try and find one.
Paul, I didn't know this
Get a
was a
photo
thing.
with Paul Bunyan.
Oh, let's see. There's any
Google
near
it.
there. Oh, well, I'll have
There
a
is
look.
apparently multiple locations where you can find your very own Paul Bunyan.
Oh, I'll give it a Google.
Why wouldn't you?
Why would you not?
Yeah, without saying like a twat, like I don't jump at horror films. Like
You don't. You're
at
just
all,
fucking
no.
numb to this shit now. Like you watch that
prick.
many. You like watch that many horror films. I don't think you could react to a horror film now.
It's just I know it's weird, but I can kind of like expect and predict where the jump scare is going to be. So in a way, I can kind of brace myself with it. But yeah, it's weird. I don't have the same kind of reaction now to horror films as I usually did.
You think about it though, like people who've been watching horror films for like this long, you tend not to have that much of a reaction to it. Me on the opposite end, because I've not watched that many. Yeah, I've watched a few now. Obviously, a lot more since we started doing this podcast. But in terms of like things, I think my reaction to a film, horror-wise, would be much different in comparison to yours. It's like when we watched The Conjuring at yours.
Yeah.
I was shitting myself. You were just there chilling. Just as you do.
I know what you mean.
It was like what Sean said when we got to speak to Sean Clark. This was so good because in comparison to the miniseries, that difference in time, we've got to
Well, budget
have
as
so
well.
much gore and have a larger budget, and things have progressed so far. And then this one, they've tried to make it even further, but I didn't feel that way. But obviously, it has been well received. I think it just depends on.
I think one of its biggest issues was the runtime. Admittedly, the book is like huge.
Did you feel at some point you were sat there going, "Fucking come on"? Because I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh really?
I kind of did at points when they were doing all the whole. Let's find the object. Let's have a flashback. Let's find the object. Let's have a flashback. And they kept doing that for every single. Like my other half kind of went, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" I think we got to Mike's flashback, and she went, "For fuck's sake!"
I think when they went back into the old house again, and then it was kind of like, "Oh, right, it's going to all happen again. One of them's going to go into a room, a door's going to shut behind them, Pennywise is going to be there." That actually happened all again, and I, you know what I mean? You could just predict that yourself, which I think is another thing they didn't really need to put in there.
Can we talk about that Pomeranian scene?
Oh, yeah.
Apparently that was improvised.
What?
Bill Hader and is it Eddie?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Richie and Eddie are stood there, they open the door and there's a Pomeranian dog there. And they're like, "Oh, that's fucking terrifying." All that was improvised by them, and they just kept it in.
Yeah, that was a good
I know
part,
you
admittedly, yeah.
Deaf bitch.
Yeah.
That was so good.
that was my other half being a massive dog lover. Like she was just like, "Oh, look at that," and I was just like, "In 3, 2, 1," and then that was it.
Yeah.
So, would you? I heard some people say they'd have liked it as a trilogy because it's so long. The second one, but to me, that would have made the middle film so dry and boring.
Yeah, there would have been no.
It's got to
really...
be a two-parter.
Yeah.
And also, how would you have concluded the second part? Like,
well, that's it. I suppose some of it would have had to change, or
and you can't do a full film on the last act of that book. You just can't. Like, I mean, you would have
maybe
the second film would have been such a drag.
Yeah, it'd have been boring, wouldn't it?
Yeah. No, like I mean, I think it had some sort of like satisfying relief to it that Chapter 2 ended the way it did. It had a better ending than the miniseries did.
Yeah.
In some senses, it was vastly different, where they kind of kept with the Pennywise head, had the spider legs, so it had the best of both worlds then. I think that was the best solution and obviously resolution of that series as a whole could have got. I don't think you could have done it any other way with the length it is, with the context within the book, and have all the stuff from the book as well. Because, I mean, if they kind of went into the whole, let's talk about fucking turtles and all of that stuff, you would have been there for about 4 hours. And apparently there's like a 4 to 6 hour cut of the film somewhere.
You never know what might come out.
I mean, there might be like a director's cut, like in a year's time.
Well, they were saying that apparently there's going to be like they're thinking of putting both the films together and creating just one
I'd
big
watch that. 'cause
running film and trying to get it flowing in
flow
between,
perfectly.
and then adding extra scenes into it as well that weren't featured in both the films.
I'd really like that.
But you're talking like
5-6 hours.
Yeah.
If that does come out, first of all, I'll happily buy the both movies. I own the first one anyway, but I'd happily buy that version of a 5-hour.
Well, see, I was waiting for part 2 anyway, so
Yeah.
I was going to get it as the bundle
Yeah.
rather than just part 1.
Well, I suppose this is a good way to like conclude our review. Would you spend money on it? Would you buy this?
Yes.
Definitely. When it's released
Cool.
as a... I mean, I like, again, obviously I already own the first DVD,
Yeah.
but I'd prefer, like, if they did the big bundle and added all the extra scenes to it. It's cool because, it's like a whole new thing again. So
Yeah.
what?
I had nothing going.
It's like a whole new, like... You know what I mean? It feels like you're watching it for
It's
the
going
first
to
time
be
again in
like
a way.
a new story, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if that does happen and we get a 4 or 5 hour whole runtime, if it's scenes interjected,
We can have a Pennywise party.
we've got
Can we all dress up as Pennywise and just sit there on the couch watching it? So if someone walks, actually order Domino's when the delivery driver turns up.
Hey, Domino's.
What we'll do is we'll also do a podcast watching it or live stream it so you can all see us
Yeah.
just dressed up as Pennywise, looking miserably eating pizza, watching
Can you
it.
be miserable
and-
eating pizza though?
Not Domino's, no. That's why they give you that garlic herb dip. You feel so
Dip.
great eating it.
Yep.
Dip. But do you not think as well, in terms of like the horror genre, it's really, it as a series has really uplifted just the genre in general.
Yeah.
And film interest, like actually purchasing a film, I think in some sense, like there's a bit more interest on it. Like there's not many films now you go, oh, I'll buy a physical copy of it now.
I think this is a whole new
stomach.
podcast we're getting onto, a whole new episode.
Yeah. This is
Is that
We
I've got a
could
lot
we
to say
could we
about
could
this.
go all day on this one.
we definitely could.
Yep.
Um,
I think that's my stomach before telling me to shut the fuck up, but
yeah.
I think we should conclude it then.
yeah.
I'd spend money on it. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna go watch it again. It's worth watching if you've gone through all these spoilers and
Yeah.
thought,
Yeah,
I've not
if
watched
you've
it
done
yet.
alone and you've decided to listen to this podcast just so you know all the bits to the film, then fuck you. I'm sorry.
I'm not that bad. I am better than what I was. A couple of years ago, I was
You was
terrible.
really bad, yeah.
Like when Skyfall came out, I fucking found out the ending of how M died at the end of Skyfall before I fucking went
Jesus
watching it.
Christ. Anyway, on that note,
Don't do it.
yeah, if you've got this far and you want to hear how wrong we were about it, we have our episode 6 is us reviewing the trailer, and I think we're going to do a couple more reviews.
Let us know how much we fucked up and how wrong we were.
Right,
I mean,
but-
we've all only watched it once anyway. haven't we?
yeah,
So-
so we'll watch it again, and this will be a separate podcast of like, we're sorry we got the whole thing wrong.
We wasted episode 6 just talking about a trailer where it was completely wrong. We'll find out.
Yeah, sweet.
That's that.
Thanks.
That's it.
Hey.
I'm so sorry we ended it. That was episode 15 of An Earful Podcast. We spoke about It Chapter 2, obviously, because now you're at the end of the episode. You'd know that. I don't know why I'm telling you.
If you made it all the way through that, thank you very much. And make sure you check out all of our previous mentions of it on episode 6, where we talked through the trailer when it first came out, and also our conversation with Sean Clark on episode 13.
Make sure you check us out on all our socials, so Facebook and Instagram, and also you can find all of our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Acast, all over podcasting streaming platforms, and we've also got YouTube. Oh yeah!
If you've made it through the past 15, we're on form tonight, past 15 episodes, then thank you very much. It does mean a lot to us. To point out that we've got a lot of exciting conversations coming up, and we are looking forward to releasing the next few.
But you're not going to be here, are you, Matty?
Yes, so for the next, starting Sunday, the 22nd of September, I shall be on a holiday in Florida for 2 weeks. So
Very nice. Where are you going?
Well, I'm going to Disneyland, Florida.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna go check out Halloween Horror Nights while I'm over there. So expect a review on that when we come back. We can talk about that, and also the new Star Wars as well. That's there. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and going checking out some horror stores over there. I know they've got some Spirit Halloween stores, so we don't have very much Halloween stores over here. UK doesn't really celebrate as much as the US.
Target.
Sadly, yeah. So I'm gonna go check out all them, and also Elvis Presley's gaff as well. So I'll have a bit to talk about when I come back, and
We'll go through it all.
best of luck with you guys for the next 2 podcasts or so. I don't know.
2 or
I think
3.
it's 2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah. Depends on what order we release them and all of that.
But you'll find out when you're listening.
I'll be there in spirit.
But otherwise than that, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Shut up, beep.
Share the babe.